We've been through a lot together this month, haven't we? Through a lot of ups and a few downs here and there. But now we are here. After all these years, after it initially came out, the time has finally come. It is time to review and discuss the conclusion of Phase 3, even though the actual conclusion of Spider-Man Far From Home, which I already reviewed. I don't know. Marvel's weird like that. And the culmination of the 10 years of the Infinity Saga, starting with Iron Man, leading all the way up to this. This is where the first big arc of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe comes to a close. And it went out on the highest note it could have possibly went out on. Because this wasn't just another Marvel movie, this wasn't just another comic book movie. This was an event. This was an event unlike anything that's been seen in film since. Up to maybe Spider-Man No Way Home, but that's its own thing. This is literally the culmination of 10 years of the MCU, and it is a farewell to not one but three of its mainstay characters. Two of them tragically, and one of them kind of beautifully poetically. So, needless to say, there is a lot to talk about, even without going into spoilers. So, yeah, this is going to be a pretty long review, and it definitely deserves that length, because this movie is significant in more ways than one, and it is, in my opinion, the best thing that the MCU has ever done, and at this point probably ever will do. Don't get me wrong, No Way Home came close, but this is on a level unlike anything that's been seen before. It is a movie that, even to this day, still remains in the pop culture zeitgeist. Sure, there are some people that really don't like what it did, but in my opinion, I think that it did the best that it could with the situation that it found itself in. So, with all that said, even though we're not quite done with Marvelous May yet, this is the end of an era. So, let's give it the biggest and loudest send-off we can possibly give it, shall we? What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Animation Station, which is just everything and everything animation, including Marvel heroes uniting to defend the world, as well as TV and movies. I am your host, Jackson Small. Welcome back to Marvelous May. Welcome to my long-awaited, long-overdue review of Avengers Endgame. The culmination of 10 years of the MCU and the end of the first big saga of the MCU. So, without any more further ado or delay, here is my written review for Avengers Endgame. It's spoiler-free, it's long, it's lengthy, but I think it sums everything up quite well. I hope you enjoy. Here we go. 10 years of build-up, 10 years of movies, 10 years of some of the most iconic characters in history. It's all led up to this. The final battle against Thanos to save all of existence from suffering the same snap of half-extinction as Earth did after the defeat of the Infinity War. Captain America, Iron Man, War Machine, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Thor, and Ant-Man, and Rocket Raccoon are all that remains to save the multiverse and defeat the Mad Titan Thanos once and for all. And not all of them will make it out alive. Avengers 4 Endgame is more than just another comic book movie, more than just another Marvel movie, and more than just another summer blockbuster. It is the culmination of 10 years of building up to this very moment, resulting in more than just the greatest movie in the entire MCU, but one of the most hype events in cinematic history. This movie shattered the internet. This movie broke all records. And to this day, it is a peak that the MCU has yet to reach since. Yes, No Way Home got close because of nostalgia, but this was unlike anything that MCU have done up to that point. Sure, some people prefer Infinity War, and I can understand why. But to me, Infinity War was just the predecessor to the incredible conclusion that is Endgame. It not only delivered a satisfying ending to the Infinity Saga, but also the conclusion of three of its mainstay heroes, Iron Man, Black Widow, and Captain America, as they sacrificed it all to save the multiverse from annihilation. Two of them tragically, and one of them beautifully. And the final battle is the single most amazing fight in movie history, with a scope and a scale that seemed impossible. But since everyone brought their absolute all into this, it became a mind-blowing reality. Like, this is literally every single character from all the past Marvel movies up to this point, all coming together in one final battle to defeat Thanos once and for all. It literally does not get any better than that. Then you add on every single positive from Infinity War on top of that. You know, the acting, the writing, the cinematography, the storytelling, the characters, etc., etc., etc. As well as a final act that'll leave zero dry eyes by the end of it. The end of this movie will make you cry, if you're one of those people that became attached to these characters. Because for many of them, and those three I listed in particular, this is their farewell. Sure, RDJ may be coming back as Doctor Doom for the Multiverse Saga, yes. But A, that hasn't happened yet, so we don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And B, this is still the end of Tony Stark. So, it's still significant even if the actor comes back. And sure, Chris Hemsworth Thor comes back for, a giant piece of dog shite that we'll talk about another time. And yes, there are rumors that Chris Evans is coming back too. Not to mention he already came back in Deadpool and Wolverine as Human Torch. But A, that was a one-time thing for a gag. And B, we have no idea what Chris Evans' role is going to be in the MCU after Captain America. So, again, even if these actors are still coming back in some way, there's still some kind of impact there. Especially Black Widow in particular, because outside of her solo movie, that's also kind of a prequel thing. Yeah, it's weird. She doesn't come back. Ever. Her actress is done with the MCU after Marvel and the corporate treated her so badly. Which we'll talk more about when we get to Black Widow, because I have more than a bit of a 2 cents on that topic. But this is the end of her character arc too. So even if some of these actors are coming back in other roles in the MCU, there's still an emotion there because they won't be these same characters. And yeah, this final act, it will make you cry. If you're one of the people that became attached to all these characters throughout 10 years, this ending will get you in the feels. As it beautifully but tragically ends up bringing everything full circle. In the best way possible. It is the highest peak that the MCU has ever reached, both financially and critically. Not even the dumb things like Smart Hulk and Bro Thor can diminish what a masterpiece this film is, and how it finished off not just the climax of Phase 3, even though again Spider-Man Far From Home is the actual end of Phase 3, acting as an epilogue for Spidey's arc of grief caused by the end of this movie, but an entire era of film itself. Yes, Smart Hulk and Bro Thor, those parts are very, 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 very stupid. But, A, they fixed Bro Thor relatively quickly, so he's just a one-time weird thing. And 2, as for Smart Hulk, well, I mean, that doesn't have a bright ending because they just continue to bastardize and destroy the Hulk's legacy into Phase 4. So unfortunately, that one does not really have a positive ending. And technically, neither does Thor's because his next outing's a giant piece of shite. But point is, those two little minuscule things do not harm this giant masterpiece of a movie for me. Yes, they're stupid. Yes, I hate the Fortnite endorsement. But if you throw all that aside, they're still far more positive than dumb. And I am not even going to call those negatives because story-wise, those things work. But yeah, character-wise, they are stupid. And they're not enough to ruin the movie for me. Sure, some prefer Infinity War, and I can understand why. But for me, this is the best thing that the MCU has ever done, and excluding No Way Home is a level of quality that it hasn't reached since. Again, I already reviewed No Way Home. That was a 1-hour behemoth of a review that I did with some guests. So, you want my thoughts on that? Click on the little bubble above and you'll find it. So, with all that said, now we get down to the final verdict. And it shouldn't be a surprise to any of you. I've already said this is my favorite movie in the MCU, and I stand by that. Sure, there are movies I would rewatch more often, like the Spider-Man movies, for example, because of my own bias, because, Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. But on a pure quality level, on a pure impact level, this is the peak of the MCU. This and Infinity War together create a giant 5-hour masterpiece of a conclusion after 10 years of build-up. After a full decade of movies building up to this one event, they deliver in spades. And that is why this is yet another MCU movie to get my highest final verdict possible of a 12 out of 10. I love this movie. I will always love this movie. Even in spite of those who don't. I will always love this movie. That will never, ever change. And with that, that concludes our look at the first 3 phases of the MCU, because like I said, I already reviewed Far From Home. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this almost every single day. And I wish I could say it's going to get even better next time, but no, because now we gotta talk about the crap that I refused to review before. Outside of She-Hulk and Ms. Marvel, I still refuse to review those outside of that tier list video. Because next time, we gotta dive into Phase 4. And since I already reviewed No Way Home, it's not going to be very fun, because I don't even get to talk about the best part of Phase 4, because I already reviewed it. But, I mean, it doesn't start off too bad, I guess? I don't know. Point is, it's about to get very rough, and may or may not get intensely negative at times, so just prepare yourself. We may be skipping over the 2 worst ones, but there's still a lot of crap to get through. So, I'll see you guys next time when we start our look into Phase 4 with the started promising but ended up mediocre escapade that is the ambitious but underwhelming WandaVision.